Right, I'll mute the sound, ladies and gents, and we shall get moving. A little bit more. It's a nice standing warm up and then a nice sitting down stretchy session. So the feet just hip distance, let the hands just drop, let the shoulders relax, but grow tall so you feel really lifted through your chest, a little connection into your core, and you're just going to lift the arms up without flaring the ribs, and just let the hands drop from one side over to the other. Little turn with the head. And let your weight sit into the heels. And if you give your bottom a little squeeze, it'll stop the hips twisting. So you're trying to get, again, those hips nicely fixed forward. Breathe in as you let the arms lift. And again, just let your breath go as you let your arms drop. I think I quite like this movement, and we'll do this for the next 45 minutes. Or maybe just one more on each side. And resting here. So just let the arms wrap around your waist. And then with your wrap, you can add in that little side step, a little bend of your right knee, and then back into the centre. And again, as you step across, keep the length in the neck, and try a little turn of your head, and so you can have a little look back over your shoulder. Now when you step to your right, keep gently pressing back into your left foot, because that's going to help to keep the hips fixed and facing forward, and just allow that nice rotation through the upper body. And two more. And then with your last one, just staying in the centre, hands come by your thighs, and then you're going to work into your right shoulder. Now leaning back with a soft elbow. And as you lean back with the elbow, just drawing that shoulder blade right down into the back of the ribs. Breathing in again with the lift. Breathing out to pull back. Looking back over the shoulder. Try to hold that left shoulder in place, so get even more movement through that right shoulder. And once more. And resting there. I'm going to step the feet out wide. Feet to a slight diagonal, not too much. And reach across to your right knee, and then over to your left. Start to take a little glance again over the shoulder. You're starting to feel that rotation through the upper body, and then you can start to take a little bit more bend into the knees, and maybe reaching down towards the floor, towards the foot. And once more each side. Then we're going to rest in the centre. Big lift with both arms, bend your knees, come halfway up, drop the arms and reach. Breathe in, let it go. And again, sit down to the hips. And as you sit into the hips, keep gently pressing out with the knees. It's almost like you're doing a big clap above the head. And then let your hips just feel a little heavier. Two more. And then resting in the centre. Bring the hands down, bring your feet in a little closer, and back to our first move. With a heel lift though this time. So pressing through the balls of your feet. Letting the heels lift, and letting your eye gaze follow. Use the out breath as you drop the arms. And again, really starting to pick up the heels now. So you're starting to get more work into your calves. And again, getting good strong calves helps create more stability around the ankles. And once more each side. And then back in to our wraps. So you're just wrapping from side to side. When you wrap to your left, little step to the left. Stepping in. Let the arms just hang and wrap. No tension through the shoulders. And the arms just feel like ropes swinging around your body. Then you can try and add more rotation through the neck. Having a little glance back. As you're glancing back, you're still pushing into the edge of your right foot. So that's going to help to keep the hips more centred and that right leg more still. The last time, staying in the middle. So the hands come down And then as we go into that left shoulder, so again, drawing the elbow back, almost like it's doing a big wave. Feel like your elbow pulls into the rib. So as you pull that elbow down into the rib, you're also feeling that shoulder blade pull down. So as well as mobilising the shoulders, you're waking up some of the stability muscles around the shoulder too. Breathe in with that lift. Out, pull back. 4 more. Maybe taking the elbow just a little further back behind that shoulder line. And then your last one, stepping your feet out wide again. So as you step the feet out wide, turn your toes out. Just a little turn into your chest. Pushing back into the hips. Just let the arms swing. Maybe reaching a little bit further. It's like you're almost trying to push your heart over your thigh. Good move. One more each way. And then staying again in the centre. Nice big lift of the arms. Now this time, hands come down. You're going to reach over with one and then the other. So getting into our waist. We're feeling the ribs moving away from the hips. Your arm up and over towards your ear. And the knees pushing out really wide towards your little toes. Feel the stretch through your spine. Try and get the arm nice and long. So as you push away through your fingertips, you're also feeling your ribs moving away from your hips. Once more each side. All good for the spine. And then resting in the middle. Bring your feet in when you're ready. Roll the shoulders back. And just have a little roll down. And then whenever you're ready, a little roll back up. Chin nods in. You're rolling forwards. And then restacking your spine. As you rise, a little tuck with the bottom. Grow really tall at the top. So every time you do come to the top, you've got a really nice posture to come back into. 2 more. And with your last one, we're going to stay at the bottom. Bend your knees as much as you need to allow yourself to bring your hands to the ground. Then walking your hands forward and easing your knees down to the ground. Feet hip distance apart, hands shoulder width. And then from here, you're going to gently pull your hips back and gently push your chest forward. As you pull your hips back, give your tailbone a little tuck under, so it helps bring the stretch into the lower back. It's also helping to mobilise your shoulders. And don't force your bottom back to your heels, just allow it to sink back to your heels. Feel the movement through the spine. And resting in the centre. From here, you bring your right leg out to the side and you're going to push down into the edge of your right foot. So it lifts the arch, it lifts that inner thigh, and the same thing, we're just going to push the hips back and then come forward with your chest. So hips move back to the heels and your chest gently pushing forwards. Now again, as you're moving the hips back, try and keep your right foot nice and anchored to the ground. So get a lot more stretch then in the inner thigh. And if you want to, as you push back, almost slide the hip over to the left a little. And that gives you a little bit more stretch into the inner thigh. And 2 more. And when that inner thigh is thoroughly stretched, you can stay in the centre and just let the arms swing. Reaching towards the floor, or your big toe, or towards the outside of the ankle. And as you let the arms swing across, you should feel how that just brings a little bit more stretch into the inner thigh. Then for more stretch, let your head turn. A little glance back over your shoulder. 3, 2, and maybe hold the 1. Again, it doesn't matter where you hold it, but what you can do now then is swing your left arm. And as you're reaching your left arm across, try and glance back again over your right shoulder. Breathe out each little reach, or big reach as the case may be, for 3, 2, your 1, hand comes down. Hands on the shoulders, come back onto your hips. Oh, it's always nice to have a sit down after those. As you come back onto your hips, your left foot just in towards your inner thigh, and your left hand, under your shoulder. Right hand under your shoulder. I was right first time. It's your left arm that reaches over, and then it comes back to the floor. So arm nice and long. And as you reach over, feel like you're reaching with your rib cage as well. It's like you're pushing away through your shoulder, you're reaching away through your fingers, but you're also pushing a little bit of weight down into your left buttock. That helps keep the hips nice and anchored. Use the out breath. In breath to lift. And again, out breath to ease into the stretch. And let it go through your mouth. In. Let it go. Adding on this time. So as you bring the hand back this time, place it down on the floor, really close to the hip, and then reach the arm, left arm, right arm over, and the hips push forward. So back onto your bottom, reaching over to the right, hand under your shoulder, and then reaching over to the left. So let's remember the hips. When you lift the hips, squeeze your left buttock, push the hip forward as you reach the arm back. And you're trying to get that feeling that you're taking your ribs as far as you can away from your hips. If it feels okay, a little glance down towards the floor as you reach over, and that'll help to create a little bit more stretch too. 2 more. And your last one. And coming back into seated. So from here, your left foot comes a little further down the thigh. You're turning, so if you just pull, put your hand on your right sit bone and pull it back so it aligns the pelvis up. And then from here, we're just going to come into our little swim, reaching one hand towards the ankle, reaching from one side over to the other. Turning the head, so you're looking again from one side right around to the other side. And if you can't keep this knee bent here and it feels uncomfortable, just bring it further forward, or you can just let it sit out to the side as you get the movement into the hip. So just find a comfortable position for that left leg to sit into. Now, as you reach forward, next time your right hand comes forward, bring it to the inside of your foot. Left arm, just a big sweep forward, and then draw the shoulder back. Now try and keep the length in the spine. Sometimes when we come to here, we end up really round in the back. Now the back's going to be hard to rotate when it's flexing forward. We need to align the vertebrae. So again, when they're stacked nicely on top of each other, then you can get much more rotation throughout the whole of the spine. And again, 2 more. And then with your last one. And resting. From here, bring your knees back in, under your hips, and we'll do that whole sequence again on the other side. So the hands, shoulder width, elbows pointing back towards your knees so it engages your upper back. Just let the hips ease back and let your chest rock forward. Tucking the tailbone under, and then let the ribcage push forward. Little breath in, out breath as you push back. And again, maybe starting to push the hips a little further back into the heels. As you come forward, a little glance up to the ceiling so it allows this spine to extend and flex as you pull back. 2 more. Resting in the centre. Left foot comes out to the side. Push the edge of your left foot down to the floor and just square the hips and the shoulders. Left hand. Oh no, sorry, missed this bit first. Pull the hips back and then push forward. Hips back and then push forward. And then you can almost slightly push the hips off to the right. So it just literally feels like you're pulling your pelvis a little further away from the inside of your ankle. Breathing out again as you slide back. And a couple more. Still trying to keep that foot really anchored to the ground. Then resting. Then you can let your arms swing. Not only your arm, but so you can let the head turn with the arm. And still pressing into that right hand for a little bit of stability through the shoulder. Strong, straight left leg. So feel like you're trying to push the edge of your foot right into the ground. Two more. Hold it towards the foot, and again on the floor is an option, and you can just let that right hand now swing. Now if you reach in towards the toes, let the head turn as well. Look back over your shoulder. Use the out breath, that's that turn. Because the out breath allows the muscles to relax more and allows you to stretch further. It's kind of the opposite to Pilates. Two more. And your last one. And then bring it back into the centre. Sit back onto your hips in your own time. Just allow yourself to sink back onto the floor. Left leg out, right foot to inner thigh. Hands by the hips, push into your hands and get your back nice and tall. And then when you're ready, your right arm, and then ease back. Reaching towards the toes. Feeling the ribs lifting away from the hips. Just allow your body to feel a little bit heavier here. Out breath. The breath in lifts your body. The out breath allows you to go a little bit further. And two more before we add on. So we'll start to get into the hips next. So this time, as your hand comes to the floor, push your big toe down to the ground, push the hip forward. So you can look back. And again to the floor, into your side bend, press down through the heel of your hand, and extend through the hips. Now not only are you extending through your hips, but you're trying to pull your ribs away from your hips as well. So it helps to have a little glance back at this left hand. If that feels too much, just keep your eye gaze forward. Two more little combos. Because this one is just so nice. Lovely for the back. And this time you get to have a rest. From here, just adjusting your foot so you can bring it further forward, or again having the leg out straight in a position where it's comfortable. And we're going to go for that little swim. Reaching one arm forward and then the other. So as we start to go into the swimming arms, you're getting that little bit of rotation through your spine at the same time. Looking from one shoulder to the other. In and then flexi dog. Lex wants to join in for a down dogs. We're not there yet, Lex. Soon. Up dog. Good girl. She's getting good. And resting in the centre. You bring your hand to the inside of your ankle, and it's your right hand that comes across and draws back. And again, try to keep the length in the spine. Sometimes you try and go further and end up in this really awkward position. So a nice big lift of the ribs. And the more you keep lifting the ribs, the more it helps keep that length into the spine. And it helps you ease into your rotation. 3, 2, and your last one. And resting. Bring the shoulders back above the hips. And now bringing your right leg out as well. So you've got both legs stretching outwards, knees and toes up to the ceiling, hands behind the hips, and just gently push into the hands and give your ribcage a little lift. So your right hand reaching forward. Keep the hips square, just gently tip forward and lift. Tip forward and lift. Now it helps that your eye gaze lift with the hand. So it gets that sensation of lifting your rib cage up at the same time. And so you can go a little further forward and then lift. Breathing as you ease back. Out breath as you rock forwards. And again, feel that breath helps you go deeper. And 2 more. And then you're ready to go even deeper. Hold it here. Bring the left arm across, hands down. Lift the chest up. Just bend the elbows a little. And just allow yourself to rock forwards. Nice and easy, not to a point of pain. Just feeling your weight coming forward. Breathing out a little bend of the elbows. And then whenever you're ready, you can hold. Now you might want to stay with your hands, or you might be able to come down to the elbows. Just allowing yourself to stay and breathe. And whenever you're in your position, just feeling the stretch through the inner thighs. You can always gently push your rib cage forward and then ease it off. So wherever you are, try and just push the ribs forward and lift them up a little. And then let them go. And again, breathe out, push and lift. And a breath in to release. Once more. And then settling in the centre. Walk your hands back. Bring your left foot in. Then your right foot, so your right foot's in front. Gently pressing your knees down. So the hips are nice and anchored, back's up nice and tall. Now your left hand comes across the outside of your right thigh. The back of your hand is on the thigh and this arm's straight. So you can use the arm as a lever to gently encourage rotation through the spine. Pulling up through the top of the head, so you're restacking the spine, staying as tall as possible. And again, if your knees are high, that's fine. You're still gently pressing against the right thigh to encourage rotation. Now your back hand, the one that's on the floor, pop it on the floor behind the bottom and push the hand into the floor to try and make yourself taller. And then see if you can go a little further. Bring the chin down towards the shoulder, so it's bringing the stretch into the neck at the same time. And then pull up through the crown of the head, being taller. And then rest in from here. Keep this right knee where it is and just take your left knee back. So you've got both knees almost 90 degrees. Now what we're trying to do is encourage the right knee to the floor and the left knee. You can take the stretch deeper by bringing that right foot forward so the knee's more at 90 degrees. Hands, one in front of your shin, one just above your knee. Just move back so my ankle's not on the wooden floor because that hurts. And you're going to allow yourself to gently rock forward and back. And as you're rocking forward, you're almost trying to bring your heart over your thigh, towards the knee. And if you find that difficult, just bring it forward towards the shin. Now as you breathe out, let your chest just sink down to the floor. Hands there for support. Really nice way of getting into your outer thigh and your hips. And I do say nice quite loosely. 2 more though, because it's kind of nice. And then stay. So from here, your left hand, you're going to reach, make a big circle, and then roll your shoulder back. So reaching forward, and then rolling your shoulder back. Keep pressing the right knee gently down to the ground. Breathing as you reach, breathing out to pull back with that shoulder blade. Once more. And then stay. Bring the hands forward. See if you can encourage the elbows to the floor. If you can't, it's fine. Just stay in here and let your body weight tip forward again a little bit more. See if you then can encourage your right foot a little further forward and maybe get towards the elbows. You're trying to push your left elbow into the floor more than your right. If you feel then you're pushing down into your left, you get more stretch into your right hip. So a little lift of the rib cage if you can, and then release. You don't have to lift the ribs too high, it's just feeling that you're pushing your heart forwards. And you notice when you push your heart forward, it just gives you a little bit more length into the back. And it just allows a little bit more stretch into the hip. Twice more. And one last one. and resting. Walking the hands back, coming up into seated, and just let the legs come back out wide when you're ready. Might notice to go a little bit wider this time. Roll the knees back, hands behind your bottom, push the rib cage up so back nice and long, and then keeping the right hand back this time, left arm comes forward. You have that little glide and lift. So you're breathing out, you push your thumb to the ceiling. And again, it helps let the eye gaze follow the thumb, so that encourages the lift of the ribs. And it starts to get that movement into the spine as well as stretching into your inner thighs. So you can push a little further forward and then reach that thumb up nice and high. Give me a couple more. And then your last one, holding here. Bring the right arm around. So your hands are straight, bring them to the floor, so you can bend the elbows this time. And if you can't, bring the hands a little bit closer and just allow yourself to rock, just slightly backwards and forwards. Never to the point of pain, but just feeling more stretch in the inner thighs as your body weight comes forward. Or we could make this into like a little press-up exercise. That's one for moving freely. Breathing as you ease forward. Breathe out, push up from the ground. Once more, and then just allow yourself to stay. As you stay, just staying with the stretch, not into pain, just feeling the stretch, the awareness, the inner thighs, adjusting yourself as you need to enjoy that stretch. A little push forward the rib cage again, and releasing. And just feel what difference it makes by lengthening through your spine. And it's really good for getting the muscles working in the back as well to help give you more stability, more strength, more support through your spine. And a couple more little rocks. And then back into the centre. Walking the hands in, bringing your right foot in first. I don't know how I end up shuffling forward all the time. Right foot in first and then left foot in front. So again, if the knees are high, it's fine. Do try and encourage them down the best you can. Anchor the hips, push the hands into the floor so you're tall, and then it's your right hand to come to your left thigh, and it's the back of your thigh. Straight arm, so really strong from your shoulder all the way down. Press against the thigh and gently pull back with your left shoulder. At the same time, growing taller. Breathing in to rise, and then breathing out as you turn. Try and keep that length in the neck, so there's a little nod down with the chin, and then see if you can turn the head a little bit further. And keep allowing your shoulder to look behind as well, and that's what helps get more rotation up through the spine. And then easing back into the centre. Taking your right leg behind this time, so knees both come to 90. You can encourage your left foot a little further forward, and then try and get both knees down to the floor. So the hands come forward, one above your knee, one in front of your shin. Lift the chest. Again, just allowing yourself to rock forwards while pressing the knee down into the floor. So at first you're bit Barnsley, taking your heart over your thigh, or you can come more forwards and bring it down towards your shin. As you bring the heart more towards the shin, you get more stretch into your hip. Breathing out as you tip forwards. Try and let the back round as you tip forward. Just let that feeling of lengthening and slightly lifting your ribs. 3 more. 2. I'm not the only one that likes this stretch. Last one, and then your circle. So bringing the arm around, pushing it forward, and then rolling back. Just feeling that movement into the shoulder. A little bit of work coming into the hip. And pushing out your left hand as you rise. Last 2. And then staying again in the centre. See if that's helped to loosen the hips. So you can bring both hands in front of your shin. Maybe staying on the hands and just lifting the ribs and then rounding the back. So you can just simply stay and keep pushing the rib cage forward, or encouraging the elbows to the floor, pressing down to your right elbow and pressing down to your left knee. And again, it's that feeling of rocking forward with the rib cage. Pushing forward and lifting the heart. And breathing out each time you do that. Breath in as you ease back. Out breath to push forward. And a couple more. And then you get to have another rest in the middle. Walk your hands back when you're ready. Let's go into the shoulders, not this little shoulder one for a while. Bring both feet forward. Hip distance. Left hand lifts, it reaches up to the ceiling, and then you're going to reach up and over and take the outside of your right foot. And you're pushing your foot down onto a pedal, and at the same time you're slightly pulling back with your hand. So it helps you get a stretch in and around shoulder here. Then if you turn your head and a little glance over your right shoulder, you should feel that stretch increasing a little further. Your option to deepen the stretch is to slide your right leg forward. Keep trying to push the foot down to a pedal as well as trying to pull back with the hand at the same time. And as you're doing that, you should feel the stretch again deepen around the shoulder. Keep looking back over your left. Keep pushing forward through that right foot. And then come into the centre when you're ready. Again, hands come behind the hips, lift up tall, right arm outside of your left foot, push your foot down the pedal and pull back your foot. So you're trying to really pull the foot back as well as push the foot down to the floor. And that just gives more stretch into that shoulder. And after my hours of painting yesterday, believe me, my shoulders need a stretch. The muscles were still twitching when I were in bed like I was still painting. It was back on my shoulder. Right, so when you're ready, push the foot forward. Maybe try and press your toes down to the floor. And keep gently pulling the foot back and glancing back over your left shoulder. Take a big breath in. As you breathe out, try and push the foot down a little bit more. And then resting. Rolling back into the centre when you're ready. Feet come together and let your knees gently ease towards the ground. And again, if they're up here, that's fine. Just try and encourage them down. If they're getting down further, then you can rock forwards and back. And again, as you rock forward, you keep the length in your spine. And you feel like you're pushing your heart forward over your feet. Just gently lifting it up at the same time. And a couple more. So the hips thoroughly stretched. And your last one. And again, allow yourself to stay. Keep weighing down through the elbows. Or again, you can bring the hands down to the floor. A little push forward with the chest. Maybe a little walk forward with the hands. Pressing down through your fingertips. Now almost imagine trying to pull yourself forward with your fingertips. And then relax. And again, press down through your fingertips and pull yourself forward. And relax once more. And then resting and walking back. From here, coming onto your hands and your knees. A little bit of work for our calves. So we're going to come in with the knees hip distance and the hands shoulder width. And down dog. Hips lift. Gently push the hips back and then up. Just press your right heel back to the floor and bend your left knee. Press your weight even into both hands and then change feet. So press the heel back, push the bum up and walk your feet one then the other, but hold the stretch for a few seconds before you change and then press back into the other heel. At the same time, hopefully finding a nice deep stretch through the shoulders. You're letting your ears sink down between the arms, pressing evenly into both hands and also pushing back and up with the hips. Once more on each side. And then lifting both heels right up onto your tiptoes and then try and press both heels back to the floor. And again, lift both heels onto your tiptoes and then try and press both heels back. And one more time, lifting and then gently pressing back. When you're ready, heels lift, Your knees bent. Take your steps forward. Bring your fingers towards the toes. Now from here you can just hug the back of your thighs if you want to, and just allow the chin to come down towards the throat, and let the head hang towards the ground. If you prefer fingers on the floor, you can bring your elbows straight onto your thighs, drawing the belly up to the back, and just allowing the head to be a little heavier, just letting it sink. And how that helps to lengthen and release your spine, as well as getting a good stretch in your hamstrings too. In your own time, take a breath in. With the out breath, your tailbone tucks under. Each vertebrae gently restepping. And then come back to the beginning, where it all started. In perfect posture, I hope. Breathe in, you're going to lift both arms. Breath swings, bend your knees, and then reach up with the arms. A little tucking of the chin. Let the knees bend, and then push up through the heels. Breath in, out with a lift, and a couple more. And 2, and 1. Holding at the top, reaching, pressing your palms to the ceiling, lifting your eye gaze, anchoring down through the heels. And in your own time, just reaching out through your fingertips and pulling the shoulder blades in, and then back that little wrap from side to side. Just again, letting the arms swing like ropes. Just releasing the spine. And once more, each way. And resting. And applauding, ladies and gents. Well worked. Well stretched, for sure.